Welcome to Rheminiscing. I'm your host, Dr. Tony Rhem. I bring over 4 decades of experience in artificial intelligence and knowledge management systems to help make sense of this technology shaping our lives today. Since the 90s, I've worked on the intersection of AI, knowledge management, and information architecture, supporting government agencies, Fortune 500 companies, and global enterprises. I've helped design systems that not only store knowledge, but allow people to find what they need, when they need it, and trust what they find. This podcast is about clarity. It's about digital literacy, and what I like to say is AI literacy. It's about making AI understandable, practical, and responsible, one topic at a time. So whether you're an executive, knowledge worker, just curious, or just an everyday person using AI to try to get ahead or supplement what you do in your job, this is the podcast for you. Today's topic, we will talk about large language models, or as we like to call them, LLMs. We'll unpack this together. Let's get into AI for you. What is a large language model, and how does this relate to GPTs? Foundations and framing. When we talk about LLMs, we're not just talking about chatbots or some internet toys. We're talking about a transformational leap in how machines process, I wouldn't say, quote, human knowledge, but language, information. At their core, LLMs are neural networks trained on a massive amount of data. Billions of words pulled from articles, books, all on the web, and documents. What they do is that, to understand the data that matters, they predict what's the next sentence or next word. So it uses all that to help predict that. This is really beyond what I've done in my early days. So I've worked with expert systems early on in my career and neural networks. And using rule-based programming, Prolog, Lisp, programs like that, we really were amazed at what we can do. But now with all this data, we can do a whole lot more. And the advances in technology has led us to where we are with large language models. So think about how we search for answers. Think about how we write, summarize, ask, and learn. LLMs are now embedded in tools like Microsoft Copilot, Google Docs, right? Customer service bots, even enterprise knowledge portals where we are integrating knowledge management and artificial intelligence. They're reshaping how organizations manage and retrieve knowledge. But the real opportunity here and challenge is in trusting what they deliver. Enterprise knowledge at scale, powered by artificial intelligence, specifically generative AI with large language models. Now you have thousands of documents, SOPs, and operating procedures, historical information. Traditionally accessing that knowledge requires knowing where to look or knowing someone who did. With LLMs embedded in knowledge management systems, that institutional knowledge becomes searchable, conversational, right? And ideally context aware. But here's the catch. If your information architecture, which is your underlying plumbing, isn't strong, if your content is inconsistent or fragmented, the LLM's output will reflect that. So before chasing the latest AI model, let's make sure your data house is in order. And that's part of the AI readiness that you should go through. So let's talk about ethics. What does the AI think? So today's question, should we let LLMs answer questions in critical sectors like healthcare, law, or finance without human oversight? Think about that for a second. And so for true accountability, we cannot outsource that, especially in domains where people live, liberties or livelihoods are involved. We need oversight. We need a way to govern this, and we need to be intentional in our design. So we want to have our tools and our knowledge to be ethically gathered, produced, and the knowledge from that reflected in that. So my AI co-host will dive into this with me, and this is what's going to be super interesting. Let's bring this home. A large language model is a type of AI that uses deep learning to pull all this together, but also reinforcement learning as you ask it questions in the form of prompts. Your prompts reinforce what you want that you're training your LLM to deliver for you. So being very good at prompting is a key. LLMs are already reshaping how we access and engage with knowledge, from customer support to compliance to learning. But the impact is only as strong and safe as the information and intent behind them, right? So we must really be intentional about that. This segment, we are going to explore large language models, exactly what it is and what it does. We've been speaking about that earlier. And for this segment, I am going to turn to my co-host, which is a large language model within itself. My co-host here is Georgia. So Georgia, tell me, what is a large language model? Can you explain that to me and the audience?
Of course. A large language model is basically an advanced AI that can understand and generate human-like text. It's trained on a huge amount of data, which helps it respond in a very natural and conversational way. So it's kind of like having a chat with a super knowledgeable friend.
Okay, a large language model in itself doesn't really say much about how you interact with it. To interact with a large language model, you need a natural language processor, natural language NLP interface. Is that correct?
That's absolutely right. A large language model works behind the scenes, and the natural language processing interface is what allows you to interact with it in a conversational way. It's all about making communication smooth and natural.
Yeah, I agree with that. And as a large language model, you really actually look at patterns, right, in language and understanding so you can respond to what people are asking you. Is that right? Tell me more about that.
Exactly. As a large language model, I analyze patterns in the language from the data I've been trained on. This helps me understand context and come up with responses that make sense. So it's all about recognizing those patterns and using them to generate relevant and helpful answers.
So tell me, in the realm of generative AI, how does a large language model, where is its place in that whole generative AI spectrum? Where is the large language model, and what's the importance of a large language model in that space?
In the world of generative AI, large language models are super important because they can generate human-like text based on the patterns they've learned. They help with everything from drafting emails to creating creative content and even assisting in coding. Essentially, they're a big part of making AI feel more intuitive and natural in everyday interactions.
So what I want to explore a little bit more is generative AI as it pertains to producing images and other voice or videos. How does that play in the whole realm of the use of generative AI?
That's a great question. Generative AI can be used to create all sorts of media, like images, voice, and video, by learning from large data sets of existing content. This means it can generate realistic images, synthesize voices, or even create videos that look and sound quite natural. It's a really exciting field with a lot of creative possibilities.
One other question. We know that generative AI has exploded on the marketplace, right? In that regards, do you think that because generative AI is so accessible for people, that it will just speed its use and evolution within the overall artificial intelligence landscape?
Absolutely. The accessibility of generative AI really does accelerate its evolution and adoption. With more people experimenting, creating, and innovating, the technology improves faster and finds its way into all kinds of industries and applications. It's definitely an exciting time for AI development.
Yes, I agree. But it does have its pitfalls. So where does AI ethics and governance play in that generative AI space?
That's a really important point. AI ethics and governance are crucial in making sure that generative AI is used responsibly. This includes making sure that content is created ethically, avoiding misinformation, protecting privacy, and ensuring fairness. So having guidelines and regulations in place helps ensure that we harness the power of AI in a positive way.
Okay, Georgia, you have been an amazing assistant. I would like to thank you for taking the time to talk to me and the audience today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm always here if you ever need any help or just want to chat again. Good luck with everything.
Let's bring this home. A large language model is a type of AI, generative AI, that uses deep learning to help predict and generate human-like text. And we also use reinforcement learning in the form of prompts to help further train the LLM. It works by training on massive data sets and analyzing context to generate we're working toward fluent responses. LLMs are already reshaping how we access and engage with knowledge, from customer support to compliance to learning. But their impact is only as strong and safe as the information and intent behind them. If this episode sparked a question for you, I want to hear about it. Reach out to me directly at TonyR@ajrem.com, or visit ajrem.com. If you want to dig deeper, check out my latest writings on ethical AI and knowledge management, my blog, Knowledge Management Depot. I've written several articles that's out there that you can check out. You can subscribe to my blog and continue the conversation there as well. Because the future of AI is not just about what we build, it's about what we choose to value, and you play a key role in that. Until next time, keep asking the hard questions. That's where the real knowledge begins.